Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. This is our 30-second reviews, where I go through the games that I've played over the last month and break down my gut check, initial impressions, just overall elements of them. I've been tracking everything over on BG Stats, and because I've been doing that, a way to encourage me to continue doing that is doing a video series that is dedicated to the art of tracking and analyzing the games we've played. The last video released on the 9th. And since then, I have played a total of 62 plays with 31 unique games, 26 games that are new to me over the last 30 days. So we're going to scroll back. It might be a little bit more than that because I think we're about 3 days late on this. And what I'm looking at right now, December 9th had a ton of stuff on there. So let's break into it. Let's chat about everything I've played. So let's go back a little bit. Starting with December 8th, Mythic Mischief and Marvel Zombies. By the way, I'm going to skip duplicates just because, unless they're worthwhile and funny, which you'll see at the very end of this video, I'm going to skip duplicates. Mythic Mischief, Marvel Zombies, one of those gameplays is out. Another gameplay is coming out tomorrow for Marvel Zombies. It's absolutely fantastic, and now that they've revealed the fact that you can both play as the heroes or as the zombies, I love the game system. I love the mechanic. The only thing that I'm not entirely sold on is the fact that we don't have item cards throughout the course of the game. Instead, we have those strain cards which enhance or change how your characters are acting. I get it thematically. It'd be a little bit hard for superheroes to be picking up random items scattered around the universe, but I still miss that kind of exploration deck element. Outside of that, everything on the game is about the best that it can be. Mythic Mischief is just an absolute gem of a game. I cannot get enough. I need to dive back into it like this week. Picture me rolling. I don't know that I have any idea what that game is. Super Mega Lucky Box. That was a fun roll and write that kind of felt like you had a gambling addiction. Fun. I would own it. I would grab it. If we're doing a collection of roll and write reviews, I'll need to dive into it. Fuji Flush. I still have no idea what that game is. I'm sure if I saw a picture of it, I'd remember it, but this was at a convention, and I was exhausted. Green Team Always Wins is a prototype that I played there. It's fun. It has one rule. You guessed it. The Green Team always wins. Very charming, wide-open party game. Tidal Blades. Tidal Blades is lovely. Tidal Blades is so solid. Alex and I are hoping to finish the campaign this week, and we have gameplays starting to be released, I believe, starting next week as a full series of gameplay videos. Station Fall. I played Station Fall. This is going to be from Ion Games. What a weird, twisted take on Nemesis-esque, kind of hidden roll, hidden deduction, where you're trying to maneuver yourself around this spaceship, doing your very best to bluff and create a whole chaos of things happening. Playing at a convention was the worst decision. I really want a copy of the game when it finally comes in. I think it's going to be remarkable, but it's super weird. It's super weird, super twisted. If you like hidden roll, hidden movement type of games, hidden agenda type of games, this is one that probably takes it to the nth degree. Whole lot of games with Codenames Duet. That's lovely. We have a gameplay coming out very soon where Shira and I scream at each other just a little bit. Bites is an adorable little game by Boardgame Tables. You're moving these little ants down the thing and you're eating stuff, but it's got a lot of strategy when it comes to mixing in some of the expansions and also the way that you start consuming those fruits and other picnic-like items that you have coming down. A game that is made remarkable by the integration of the theme on top of really solid mechanics. Blitzkrieg and Caesar. I think these games are an absolute gem, and we have reviews and gameplays coming out. Honestly, I need to get them prepped for like Friday or something. Games are so solid, so remarkably solid. They're not leaving our collection. Shira and I love sitting down and playing these little 20-minute war games. They hit that area-controlled genre right in the sweet spot. We have In Vino Morte, Rove, Patchwork, and Trajan. So, In Vino Morte is going to be a button-shy game, so is Rove. These are going to be games where you're doing your very best. Well, you're playing with like 18 cards from a little card pack. Button-shy puts out some really great titles. In Vino Morte is going to be a duel where you're moving up this lane, doing your very best to collect numbers and sets to cast spells at your opponent. Rove is going to be a little solo, kind of grid-like tile puzzle, which is really fun. Patchwork, I've enjoyed the plays of Patchwork. I don't really need to sit down and play it again. And Trajan, I'd like to get Trajan back to the table someday soon. Really enjoying Trajan. Search for Planet X. man, after playing this game, I have just wanted to play it again. I don't know that I love it. I think it's like a 3 out of 5. My gut check says it doesn't have a permanent spot in my collection, but oh man, is the game cool. You're doing your very best to discover this planet by finding information on the galaxies and the other systems around the area. And everyone is gaining and sharing and getting information as the game progresses along, and sometimes letting some information slip. And you're doing your very best to discover the planet before anyone else, and also acquire the most victory points around the course of the game by being the person that does the most collective research. I want to play advanced mode, which we haven't done yet. Moving up, Furnace and the Great Zimbabwe. The Great Zimbabwe, let me tell you, the game group that I play with that dives into the Great Zimbabwe, that was a gem of the game. I hands down really need to get a copy of the Great Zimbabwe. I really, really loved the experience. And Furnace is just, it's a really, really good kind of engine building or a really good tableau building style game where you're generating resources to generate more resources and then convert all of those to victory points by the end. I really enjoy it. I kind of want the expansion now, and I kind of want to add it to my collection. Then we have Boza, Caesar, I already played Caesar, Marvel Champions the card game, Keyflower, Codenames Duet. Let me tell you about Marvel Champions the card game. I'm getting sucked into this world. In fact, while Shear's at work, I may take some time to just do a gameplay here on the channel because I am really, really loving Marvel Champions, and I want to play more. Keyflower is lovely. I think I want the expansions for it. We still need to do a final take and a review here on the channel. That's something that we need to get on our radar for the Shelf or Sell series, but I think right now it's staying in the collection because I really enjoyed it. Codenames Duet, we've already talked about that. Caesar, we already talked about. Lisboa, confusing. It's a hard teach, but it's a really compelling game. It makes me continue wanting to explore the Lacerda games. I do think that the farther back you go, the more accessible they all get. But, honestly, with the Weather Machine, with On Mars, with the whole range of games that I've played from him, I have found them all super compelling. Not all of them are right for me, but I found them all super compelling. If you can hear tape kind of stretching and being placed on boxes in the background, that's Shearer getting ready to go to the post office. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but I figured I'd throw that out there just so you know. We have Ghosts of Christmas, more Marvel Champions, Factory Funner a few times, Keyflower, Marvel Dice Thrones, and Blitzkrieg again. You can see a theme about what we're playing. I liked Marvel Dice Thrones, but not more than I liked, slightly more than I liked regular Dice Thrones, and we have the whole collection coming, so, what am I going to do? Factory Funner, what a cool game. Another one from Board Game Tables. I really, really loved this game. It was a game where you're helter-skelter trying to build a factory to produce resources on the table. Shira was skeptical of it, but I think she still enjoyed it. I'm really, really compelled by it. I really want to get to the table again. Maybe Alex and I will play that this weekend as we think about what we want to hit the table. And Ghosts of Christmas is my favorite trick-taking game. I don't know what else to tell you. It's just absolutely fantastic. More Marvel Champions. I got on a Marvel Champions sprint for a while there. Hamster Roll and more Tidal Blades. Hamster Roll, fantastic little dexterity game. Really lovely. Glad I discovered it. Glad I now have it in the collection. Tigers and Euphrates. QE. And more Ghosts of Christmas. Ghosts of Christmas is just a gem. Tigers and Euphrates. I could not for the life of me get my mind wrapped around how you match symbols, colors, patterns, and actually get to the programming or the fight of the game, the core nature of the game system. I get that there's an incredible game there, but it's just not one for me. This was a 2 out of 5. Absolutely. QE. Oh my gosh, does it reflect the economic system of our current political structure better than any game I've ever played? You're basically just bidding infinite amounts of money trying to win and overdo everyone around you. And the more the money gets, the higher the money gets, the less the other bids that you've done in the past matter at all. We have Kingdom Death Monster. 3 gameplays of that. That's when Shira and I sprinted through the campaign a little bit. Now, we're going to come back to this guy in just a bit, but we are loving Kingdom Death. We just played the Giga Lion, which is incredibly excited. We have 2 gameplays of that coming to the channel and 1 to Patreon, so keep your eyes out. Biblos. I thought Biblos was really interesting. I don't, for the life of me, quite remember how the gameplay works, but I remember really liking it, which I think is good, but I need to play it again, apparently, to remember Age of Steam again. I still love Age of Steam, and Dominant Species. Alex is infinitely wrong. I need to film a video about why he's wrong on Dominant Species, but he is. He didn't like the game at all. I found the game really, really compelling and highly strategic. Skytear Horde. This is on Kickstarter right now. This is a really cool game. It's kind of Hearthstone in a way. It's tower defense in a lot of ways. You're doing your best to play cards down into a card row, fighting off hordes of monsters and their minions. You have different scenarios that you're going head-to-head in. I am backing it on Kickstarter. I really support what this company is doing. They put out a great lane battling game, a great MOBA game, and now they're putting out a great tower defense game. Suburbia and Ghosts of Christmas, again, because I think it's funny to keep repeating the fact that I've played that game so many times. It's just so lovely. Suburbia, I think I'm convinced to keep my big box. I'm not 100%. I still don't know that I like the way the endgame scoring works in Suburbia. You have these hidden tiles, and you have public tiles, and you're kind of collectively going for them all. I don't know that I love... It feels imbalanced in the way that you score. It feels like the victory is either taken or given to you in a variety of ways. That being said, I still do really love the game, and that's another one that I think I'd like to add to the list to play this weekend, because it's easy to get to the table, and it's a lot of fun. Played Dominant Species again. This is where Alex hated it. Played Suburbia again. This is where I continued to enjoy it. And played Yucatan a few times, which is currently on Kickstarter as well. This is going to be the next game in the series around Cyclades Inish. I don't love any of these games, but I like Yucatan, I believe, the most, or at least what it's promising to do. I want everything to be more. I want everything to be upped or oomphed just a little bit. But, yeah, I need to go back through them all. I've promised I'd give Inish another try. It just didn't... It didn't sell me on the core experience of it, right? And Cyclades is good. Kemet is good. Kemet's... If I was going to rank them all, I would say my ranking's going to go Cyclades, Yucatan, Inish, Kemet. Yeah, at the moment. Then we're getting to, honestly, the last few days, because I was on the road for an entire week painting Galactus, which is why I played less games than I would normally play over the last 30 days. Only 62 plays, only 30-something unique games. We're going to have to up that this next time. I'd like to get to a point where I've played 100 unique games in a single day, but we'll start, not a single day, in a single month, 30-day period, but we'll start not quite that aggressive. Kingdom Death, Kingdom Death, Kingdom Death, Kingdom Death, Kingdom Death, Kingdom Death. That is 6 or 5 total plays of Kingdom Death, which is, for me, a dream come true. I am loving the campaign Shira and I are doing. If you're not watching it, you need to start tuning in now because it is absolutely fantastic. And we have some one-shots, standalones coming out soon as well around that. We have Pandemic Season 0, which Shira, I, Rena, and Alex are all playing together from Board Game Co. That's him and his wife. We're starting it. Pandemic for me still feels like a system where you watch the script unfold because it's open information. You kind of play cooperatively. It does have the negative side where someone kind of sees the best tactic, and when you're playing a 4-player game of it, I'm not entirely convinced yet that I love the series, but I do love legacy games, and I do love seeing the story unfold. So if that's what you're offering me, I'm still going to stick around. It might end at like a 3 out of 5 for me, but I'm going to stick around for that experience. Summit. This is a really cool game. I need to play it solo because it is basically a mountain exploration and climbing game where you're growing up this. It's from Inside Up Games. This game is as if you're climbing Everest and facing every horrific thing you think you could come across. Now, competitively, this is a game that is full of take that and really, really heavy, punchy items. I think if you play with a repeat game group multiple times, you'll get to the point where you have this dynamic that works really well with the game. But the first play experience was a little bit long, and I'm going to be honest, a little bit too take that in some of the ways. We ended up feeling bad for each other and just trying to help us survive until we got really close to the end, and then someone did murder me because they didn't want me to win, even though I still eventually won by my infamy because everyone died on the mountain. However, it also has a cooperative mode, which seems like a sort of tactical puzzle if you want to play together and kind of overcome the obstacles of the mountain. But for me, solo mode is where I want to sit down and swing into this because I think it's going to be really solid. And here, and finally, we have Mantis Falls. Mantis Falls is a 2-player social deduction game, 2-player bluffing game, 2-player hidden role game where you're moving up this road back and forth, doing your very best to subvert the other player's expectations. And you're right, 2 players. That means 1 player might be the good guy, 1 player might be the bad guy, or both of you might be good. That makes the dynamic of the game really interesting. You're sitting there trying to weed out what the other person may or may not be. Do you trust them? Do you not? How do you trick them? How do you convince them? How do you murder them before they get to the end of the road? This is a cool game. This is a game that I think it's an indie game doing something unique in the space that I haven't seen other games do. We've talked about other hidden role games, right? Beast being the best at 3 and up. And then we have Mind MGMT, which is a incredible hidden movement game, which is a little bit different, right? In that game, you know exactly who the enemy is. Same thing with Beast. You know exactly who the enemy is. Well, here in Mantis Falls, this is a 2-player where you've got hidden roles. So you don't know who the other player is when you're playing. Unless, of course, you're the bad guy, because then you know you need to murder them. But you have this bit of... you're trying to subvert their expectations while you play. Really good hand management, really good card play, and some modules and expansions that drastically improve the strategy and depth that the game offers. So yeah, if you haven't checked out Mantis Falls yet, that's the game I just played last night. We played one game, immediately swung into a second game. Can't wait to show it to Shira because you start... It's one of those games that if you're a couple that likes to play the same game multiple times, this game is going to heavily, heavily reward that. It starts building every time you play. You've got a little bit more information on how your partner runs and operates the game and what cards are in there and what they like to use and how you might be able to twist and, turn the dial, if you will. So there we have it. Those are going to be the games over the course of the last 30 days, and I'll be back in 30 days for more 30-second reviews. Just keeping you updated on what we're playing, keeping me encouraged to continue tracking everything that we play, and of course, doing my very best to cross that infamous 100 games in 30 days line. I'll get there.